And welcome to this morning's Power Talk. We're excited to have you join us. Today we're going to talk about specifying the megaTower with confidence from pitch to project. Many of you will know that the megaTower is not a brand new product. It was formally launched last year, but we've got some exciting updates to share with you, which will be highly beneficial in terms of helping you specify the solution for various different types of projects. So before we get into it, just a quick intro to myself. My name is Charles, and I'm the product marketing manager here.
And I'm Kyron. I'm the research and development manager here at Freedom One.
So yeah, just to touch on our history, to explain to everyone the journey we've come along to get to this point of obviously introducing the megaTower to our portfolio, which is a utility grade energy storage solution. Freedom One has obviously been in the battery manufacturing game for many years now. We were formally established as Freedom One in 2012. Where shortly after that, we launched our light range, which initially incorporated or started with, let's say, 52-volt options. But very shortly after, we then incorporated some HV variants as well. So that's something we're pretty proud of. Way back in 2017, we were the first to market with not only HV batteries, but we were also the pioneers when it came to integrating with high voltage inverters. So we were actually the first in Africa to manufacture, install, and commission a high voltage system. Since then, we've obviously been very active with larger commercial high voltage batteries and inverters, and we've rolled out numerous projects. And, as we've gone along, we've had to grow our staff complement, our infrastructure to build these bigger batteries. And of course, continue to looking at introducing even better technologies for even larger scale systems. So that's ultimately led us to identifying that there was a requirement for our portfolio to have a utility grade solution that can take on even larger projects than we've typically done with the likes of our light commercial battery range. So, throughout that journey, why have our customers really chosen to work with Freedom One? As I mentioned, we've been around for quite some time. So when you're looking at things like our 10-year warranty that we have on our light batteries, as well as our megaTower, this is something that's been tried and tested. The fact of the matter is that we're one of the only manufacturers that have batteries out in the field that are older than our warranty. So that means, the promises that are made, the performance that we guarantee in our warranty is something that we've actually tried and tested out in the field. Obviously, we are a manufacturer based here in South Africa, but we also have a very strong engineering staff complement. So in terms of our capabilities to assist with specifying larger projects, all the way through to commissioning and offering after-sales support, we are fully geared up to do that. In terms of the way we service our channel, we work through a network of authorized distributors, EPCs, and installers. So that the likes of our distributors will ensure that they've always got a healthy stock holding, but they've also got the expertise in-house to assist installers specify their systems and, of course, provide after-sales support. When it comes to our EPCs and installers, we've got a number of different training initiatives whereby we help train up these EPCs and installers so that they're comfortable with our product offering. They know how to install and support it. In terms of our in-house engineering and design, or design and manufacturing, I guess that's where Kyron comes in. With his team, whereby we are constantly looking to innovate in the sense that we want to bring the latest, greatest products to market, and at the same time continue to improve our existing product range.
Yeah, so we have the capabilities internally, and we use it to the full effect to completely design the packs from start to finish in-house to global standards. So we design it for IEC 62619 compatibility. We design it for UL 1973, UL 9540. So it meets global standards. It can be used throughout Africa and throughout the world. Indeed, our R&D team tests all our designs prior to anything being shipped out to ensure the best QC standards as well.
100%. And I mean, yeah, that's what's helped us get to the point where we've recognized the requirement for the megaTower. And yeah, and as I mentioned, we're also constantly innovating on existing products. A perfect example of that would be the addition of the remote monitoring gateway to our Light 2 batteries. And of course, that's guided, these decisions on the engineering side are guided by ongoing research and development. And in summary, we've got 15 years of experience, of manufacturing state-of-the-art lithium iron phosphate batteries. So the main topic of discussion is our megaTower. So, within our product portfolio, this is our go-to for the largest, most demanding projects. This is a true utility scale solution whereby we can scale to, the multi-megawatt hour solutions without limitation. So when designing the megaTower, we really had to listen to our customers to understand, what they're seeing out in the field, what's going to make their life easier. And that led us to making a few critical decisions when designing the megaTower. Right off the bat, we decided to go for a rack-mounted modular architecture, easy slide-in design for quick setup and easy maintenance. We wanted to offer something that offers flexibility and in the sense that you're able to easily expand, whereby you can start off with smaller increments and grow your solution as required. We've added enhanced cooling capabilities to the actual megaTower battery modules to ensure that the batteries are the right temperature at all times, ensuring longevity of the lithium iron phosphate cells that are inside these battery modules. It's a true high capacity storage solution in the sense that we're using the highest energy density cell modules that we've ever used to date. And we'll touch on some of the benefits later on in the presentation as to why that's important. The megaTower has been built for redundancy. So, we've done everything we can to ensure that the uptime is maximized, meaning that for whatever reason, if there is an issue with one of the megaTower battery modules, the rest of the system will continue to function as normal, meaning that you're not going to have any downtime.
So I think from what we've seen on site, that's one of the most important things that's required by our clients. So the majority of our clients, indeed, every site can't handle the downtime. If you buy your pack, you want it to be up and running. And the megaTower allows that. The modularity of the system allows that if one tower is down for maintenance or for repairs, that the rest of the system can continue running and you will have your 100% uptime.
100%. I mean, it's, yeah, as you said, absolutely critical. We want to ensure that, operations aren't halted, customers aren't being forced to burn diesel and such, for instance. And then, yeah, so simplified maintenance is obviously a key focus, and that links back to the fact that it's a modular design where you can slot in and out the battery modules that you're working with. And then, of course, we've got next generation monitoring, whereby each one of these battery modules are equipped to be able to be monitored from wherever you are in the world. So taking a look at the megaTower range, we've essentially got two voltage categories, which are important to note. We've got the megaTower Plus and we've got the megaTower Extra. Taking a look at the megaTower Plus, you'll see that this system is built up of 6 high battery module stacks, whereas the megaTower Extra is built up of 10 high battery module stacks. So the main difference being there is that the megaTower Plus battery module stacks account for or add up to 217 kilowatt hours of energy storage capacity. And the other main key differentiator is that on the megaTower Plus, you've got a nominal voltage of 691 volts. So that comes into play when you're determining what sort of inverter you want to pair with. 691 volts is typically what you would, the typical requirements of a commercial inverter. Whereas you step over to the megaTower Extra, where we've got the 10 high battery module stacks, you now have 361 kilowatt hours per battery module stack and a nominal voltage of 1,152 volts, whereby that nominal voltage would typically be more suitable for your utility grade inverters. Basically, to date, the megaTower has been available in the exact configuration you're looking at on the screen, whereby we'd offer a fully populated frame. And that's really one of the key highlights that we're going to be discussing today, where we're now offering the flexibility to go for a different quantity of battery module stacks, as well as different frame options. So in terms of the revised offering, how one can go about ordering the megaTower, we've listed a few simple steps that are very easy to follow. And and as we said, give you that flexibility to really start off on different sizes. You can start off with a smaller option on the megaTower to even tackle a small commercial solution and work your way up to a much larger commercial scale solution, should you choose to do that. So step one, in terms of specifying your megaTower, the first thing you're going to look at is essentially what is the correct battery module stack for your requirements. As I previously mentioned, that will determine your total energy storage capacity per battery module stack, as well as the voltage you're working with. So for instance, if you're going to be pairing with commercial inverters, you'll most likely want to stick with the megaTower Plus, whereby your base building block is 217 kilowatt hours and your nominal voltage is 691 volts.
So I think it's worth noting at this point as well that we have our projects team and our engineering team who can assist you in choosing which type of megaTower is right for your site, whether it's the Plus or the Extra. So if you give us your site requirements, your energy usage through the day, what type of loads you have, we can assess the site and we can offer you the correct solution for your site, and we can choose the right inverter for your site and for your budgetary requirements as well.
100%. Then looking at the megaTower Extra, which is your 10 stack option with 10 modules, obviously. That has a total energy storage capacity of 361 kilowatt hours, and once again, a nominal voltage of 1,152 volts, which would typically be suitable for a utility grade inverter. And just within speaking about the battery modules themselves, there are three types of battery modules. We've got a top, an intermediate, and bottom. The main thing to mention is that the top one is slightly different in the sense that it's got a master BMS, whereas the intermediates and bottom have remote BMSs.
Yeah. So we'll touch on the BMSs and the difference between the master and the remote BMSs a bit further in this presentation as well.
Awesome. So once you've essentially determined what's the correct voltage for your solution, we can then decide how many of the battery module stacks are required. So, within a megaTower frame, both the Plus and the Extra, you can fit a maximum of 4 of these battery module stacks within a megaTower frame. So, once you've populated those megaTower frames, those units can then be paralleled accordingly. So you're essentially trying to decide what's your base building block that you're going to be working with. So on the megaTower Plus, you can go as small as 1 individual battery module stack, meaning you can work with 217 kilowatt hours for a smaller solution, and then build it up to 4 stacks within a frame. And that'll give you a total capacity of about 855 kilowatt hours. On the megaTower Extra, we'll touch on the frames now, but essentially we've limited there's a baseline requirement of either 3 or 4 battery module stacks. The reason being is if you go any smaller to, for instance, a 1 or a 2 stack configuration, the total energy storage capacity will be too small for the types of utility scale inverters that you'll be looking to work with. So once you've identified the correct number of battery module stacks per megaTower, we can then take a look at what is the best suited frame. So on the megaTower Plus, we've got a few different frame options, and just to explain how the naming convention works, I'll use the 6M1T as an example. So basically what that basically refers to is that this is a 6 module, 1 tower frame. Therefore, if you move over to the 6M2T, you've got a 6 module, 2 tower frame. So on the megaTower Plus side, we've actually got 3 options. And on the megaTower Extra, we've only got a single frame option. Now, having these different frame options gives you the flexibility to choose whether you want to fully populate a megaTower frame, or if you want to partially populate that megaTower frame and then add on at a later point in time. Something important to mention is that each of these frames also come with the isolation panel that's built onto the frame.
So I think before we move on, we just need to note that the modularity allows these packs to be expanded over time. So you can see your blanking panel. So if you want, you can start off with a full 6M40, but only populate 1 tower. And over time, as your site requirements or your budget increases, you can populate the rest of the tower. So we have seen clients do this if they need capacity over a 20-year lifespan, where they'll start off populating the first tower and over time populate more towers as they require.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the key factors of this discussion today is that before you were sort of limited to starting off big, whereas now you have the ability to start off slow and grow as required. And then last but not least, should you go for a frame that you're going to partially populate, as Karen mentioned, we've got these the empty tower covers, which can be purchased separately to just cover those empty stacks, which can obviously then be removed should you want to add additional battery modules at a later point in time. Taking a look at the spec sheet. So the way we've basically broken it down is that on the first page, we purely speak to the battery modules specifications. So you'll essentially be able to see, depending on how many battery module stacks you choose to put inside a frame, what is your overall capacity. So moving from 217 kilowatt hours up to 868 kilowatt hours on the plus range. And then on the extra, you move between 1,085 kilowatt hours up to 1,447 kilowatt hours within a single megaTower frame. Obviously, that's your total capacity for a single megaTower. Those can then be paralleled accordingly to get to whatever size is required for the project. We then cover, obviously, the individual weights and dimensions for the battery modules themselves. So that comes into play when you're looking at the logistics side of things. Yeah. We then move over to the frame specifications. So yeah, this comes into play because these weights and dimensions are what you're going to work with in terms of working out how much space the megaTower itself will take inside of the dedicated battery room or container that you're looking to place these units.
But so with those dimensions and spacing in mind, our team can also advise you on the correct placement of the megatowers on your site and the HVAC requirements. So if you give us your site layout, we can tell you exactly where to place it, how to place it. So further to that, in our containerized systems, we place this in the correct place to optimize the usage, but we'll touch on that a bit further as well.
Cool. So we've given you a high-level overview of the megaTower, and essentially how you would size it. How many battery module stacks do you need? What sort of frame do you want to pair with? But now we're going to go into a little bit more detail and speak about some of the advantages. So I guess many of you will agree, being in the renewable energy space, we love to talk about the technical advantages. But with the megaTower, it's important that we ensure that not only the technical advantages are understood, but also your operational and financial advantages. When you're dealing with a large-scale commercial or utility scale project, it needs to speak to multiple parties at a particular company or multiple stakeholders at a company, in the sense that not only is it technically sound, but from an operational and financial perspective, it makes sense. You've got a high-performance solution, but that's going to ultimately give you a fast return of investment. So starting off with the technical advantages, right off the bat, one of the first things we mentioned that this is a high-density storage solution. So for this particular solution, we've utilized the 314 amp hour lithium iron phosphate cells, which allows each battery module to have a total capacity of 36.1 kilowatt hours. So by using a more energy dense solution, what that means is that we can fit more energy into smaller space. So that saves space on site, having whereby you've got a smaller footprint. So it's ideal for compact sites, and it's been specifically designed so that it can fit into containers.
So one of the other pros of our 314 amp hour cells is that we only source from tier 1 suppliers, which means that we get the complete lifespan of our cells, and we can offer that 10-year 8,000 cycle warranty that we're going to touch on a bit later as well.
100%. And a last note on the cells is one of the other main benefits for any project is that it renders a more favorable cost per kilowatt hour. So, in contrast to our light range of batteries where we had a monoblock where we're working with 205 amp hour cells, and we try to put as much cells compactly fitted inside a single enclosure to keep the overall cost per kilowatt hour down. Because we've got a higher energy density cell that we're using with the megaTower being 314 amp hours, that allows us to then have additional balance of system components, such as the individual casings and such per battery module. But nonetheless, the net effect is that we still have a more favorable cost per kilowatt hour.
So the 314 amp hour cells also means that we can offer a higher nominal current than other packs with lower amp hour ratings. So that higher, we will continue to get that higher nominal current with no noticeable extra degradation of our cells. So that assists greatly in your long-term sites where you need utility scale operation over 20 years plus.
Then speaking to the modular design, as we mentioned, the megaTower is made up of multiple battery modules. So, what we've done there is we've tried to make it extremely easy to size the solution as well as expand in the long term. With it being a modular solution, it's a much more easier installation on site. So with the megaTower, we're able to install a solution 3 times faster than we were with a light commercial solution. And we've essentially got a standardized platform utilizing, these 36.1 kilowatt hour battery modules, where we can scale from as small as 217 kilowatt hours to 100 megawatt hours plus. Specifically speaking of the megaTower Extra, which has that higher voltage, the megaTower is compatible with utility grade inverters. So as many of you will know, if you've worked with the commercial inverter options that are available in the market as things stand, you generally reach your limit when you're looking to parallel about 4 or so inverters. Generally speaking, you're capped at about 2 megawatts on the inverter side. So the importance of bringing in the compatibility with utility grade inverters meant, why that was important was that we wanted to move away from that limitation, whereby we could parallel not only as many batteries as we want, but as many inverters as we want as well. So something really cool about the megaTower is that we've stuck with the Orion BMS. So this is one of the known secrets to Freedom One success, is that we've got a American-made BMS that we've developed for over 14 years with Orion. And, that's been a critical factor in terms of ensuring that our battery's performance is optimal and that we can back what we've guaranteed on our warranty.
Yeah, so our co-development with Orion on this BMS ensures that it's made per our requirements for exactly what we want. We have the master BMS, as you can see on the top row. So it's only the top modules that have the master BMS, and all the intermediate and bottom modules have the remote BMSs. So the remote BMSs communicate back up to the master of all their cell voltages and internal temperatures, which are measured by inbuilt temperature probes. So each master monitors that the voltages, currents. It monitors for over voltage protection, under voltage protection. It controls the contactors for safety of that tower itself. And between the masters, there's also a CAN communication line, so that one master assigns itself as the main module to communicate back to the EMS or to the inverter. So once that's assigned, it communicates back all the string values to your centralized EMS. So our BMS offers a lot of protections that typical BMSs don't, because it was developed hand in hand with our R&D team.
100%. So I mean, and that's been something we've never really been willing to compromise on. The fact of the matter is there's definitely more affordable options out on the market, but we insisted on going for a high performance unit that we know we can back, and it's proven itself in the field for over 15 years as things stand. So it's something we're really proud of having developed with Orion hand in hand. Cool. Then speaking about the cooling of the megaTower, so each megaTower battery module has active air cooling per module. So essentially, this ensures that your cells are kept at a safe operating temperature at all times. We've got multiple thermal probes throughout each battery module. So you can actually see exactly what the temperatures are per module, not just the full megaTower. And essentially what that does, it ensures that we can deliver consistent performance under heavy loads and that the cells don't overheat. Working in Africa and being a manufacturer in Africa, we've had to make sure that this is a suitable solution for our environment. So we therefore had to do a lot of extensive testing out in the field, obviously using the megaTower itself, but not only that, previous solutions that we also had the same sort of or similar cooling system included. We've specifically decided to stick with the air cooling option as opposed to liquid cooling because it simplifies the solution a lot. It essentially keeps down the initial cost to build the solution, but it also takes a lot of complexity out of the maintenance that happens over the long term.
Yeah, and there's a lower risk of failure. So if you were to transport a new module or a new tower out to site in the middle of Africa, there's higher chances of failure if you were to use a complex liquid cooled system that's far more suited for the European market than the African market. So we designed this with Africa in mind, where it's transportable to site, and on site it's low maintenance, low cost, less things to go wrong, and it does perform the job very well. It has been monitored by our R&D team and proven to keep the temperatures at the required levels within the modules themselves.
That's it. And I mean, yeah, we've got a standard sort of cooling system that we have that, should that fail, it's easy for us to swap out. And, when you look at the megaTower in our containerized systems, we're simply using standard air conditioners. So it's an easy replace item. It's not a specific, a cooling system that needs to be procured from a far out country at an excessive cost. So we try to we've done that very intentionally to keep it as simple and easy to repair as possible. Yeah, and then just on the cost side, so I mentioned that it also helps significantly in terms of the system's overall cost, whereby the air cooling system we use on the megaTower only accounts for 0.5% of the system's overall cost, versus if we went the liquid cooling routes, it would probably be about 20% higher in terms of the overall cost of the megaTower.
So I've seen liquid cooling fail on batteries previously, and when it does fail, it fails catastrophically. So we've eliminated that risk of liquid cooling failures and shorting of the system by going the route of fan cooling, which works very well.
Yeah, so as Karen mentioned, we've manufactured this for Africa, as well as beyond. So everything is done in-house here at Freedom One at our factory here in Longmeadow, Johannesburg. Our factory is ISO certified, so we've got ISO 9001, 14001, and 45001. And being a local manufacturer, there's obviously a few benefits in terms of the availability, the access to our technical support team, protection against global supply chain risks, for instance, other than our cells and the Ryan BMS, which obviously coming from the USA, every other component is procured locally, which obviously helps us and reduces the amount of risk of being dependent on global suppliers.
So us designing these packs according to UL 9540, UL 1973, and to meet IEC 62619. So it ensures it meets international standards. It can be used anywhere in the world. We are in constant communication with UL to ensure that we continue to meet their standards and requirements as their requirements get updated. So we are looking to expand this onto other continents as well as Africa, because it is a world-class product.
100%. And something I really like that you and your team did, Karen, is on the safety side, you've ensured that every single battery module includes an internal fuse for overcurrent protection. So that's an additional safety measure that falls outside of the BMS's the BMS's safety features.
Yeah, so for us, we don't compromise on safety. So even though every module is in series in a single tower, we still decided to go that extra step and put a fuse in every module.
Cool. And then, yeah, another big one you mentioned. So, the importance of maximizing uptime. So We've specifically built the megaTower for reliability, and if you look at this image, you'll see how we've illustrated that, whereby essentially, should there be a requirement for maintenance on any one of the battery module stacks within a megaTower, that can easily be done, and the rest of the megaTower will continue to run as per normal. So you'll temporarily use the capacity from the battery module stack that's where maintenance is happening, but every other one will continue to run as per usual.
Yeah, so that the point of intelligent system response is that if a tower does go down, and that is the primary master is communicating to the EMS or to your inverter, another tower will automatically take over and perform those communications while you perform your maintenance or service of the tower that's currently down. So your system can stay alive, your voltage does not drop because those towers are parallel to each other, your voltage does not drop, your communications will continue, and the system can still support your ongoing business.
And of course, if that scenario does arise that a module needs to be swapped out, it's a simple sliding out the module and replacing it with a different one.
Yeah, so you literally just switch off on the top module that opens a contactor. Opening that contactor isolates that entire tower. Once the tower is isolated, it's safe to handle.
Awesome. Then looking at the operational advantages, so we mentioned with the rack in design, it's a very quick installation. We also have pre-installed bus bars. Could you tell us a little bit more about that, Karen? That's slightly different to what we've seen out in the field.
Yeah, so we found that the pre-installed bus bars makes site installation much quicker. So on the top modules attached to vertical bus bars, which allow all the modules to be parallel on the single tower. And then there are horizontal bus bars which connect all the top modules to each other, which then parallel all those towers. This is a much quicker and safer method than performing all of this on site. So having the bus bars on the back of the rack itself keeps it away from installers, keeps it away from users, from people who may be walking past, to prevent anybody from getting electrocuted, and ensure the system is as safe as possible. So there are no live bus bars that can be touched by a user or operator.
100%. So, and then we completely do away with DC cables that have to be connected in the front of the unit.
So, so that brings us to the isolation panel. So you can see the isolation panel on the right of the rack. So that isolation panel is the junction point where you would terminate your DC cables. There is an inbuilt breaker which is also UL rated to isolate the system when installing those DC cables.
Awesome. And then just the last thing on the actual battery modules themselves. So what's made this possible is those clip-on connectors at the back.
Yeah, so we have connectors that have leaves that can shift side to side. So it allows for easier push-in connection of the bus bars themselves. So there is no termination of bus bars of the modules. You slide them in place and they join directly onto the bus bars.
And then lastly, just on the operational side, so each battery module has a integrated remote gateway. So yeah, this is something quite cool that we started introducing about 2 years ago with the light range. And of course, we've kept it for the megaTower. So essentially with that remote monitoring gateway, you can create a free Freedom One portal account. And by simply registering the megaTower on that portal, you'll then have full visibility of what's happening with every single battery module.
So some people get confused at times between the EMS and the portal. So you don't need the EMS to access the portal. The portal is built in to the megatowers themselves and comes as standard. Each and every tower of the megaTower can be monitored individually. You can view each cell voltage, each individual cell voltage. You can view all your temperatures. You can view your SOCs, your state of health, and the actual state of the pack itself, if there are any faults. We can gain access to the system remotely to diagnose any issues. We can view any faults. We can reset faults. We can update the profiles remotely as well using the system. So it's a very handy system to have, and it reduces your downtime by allowing us to access the system and support remotely.
100%. So full monitoring capabilities, not to be confused with the Freedom One EMS, which is slightly different in terms of the management capabilities that it gives you for not just the megaTower, but every other component in that system. But we will touch on that shortly. When designing the megaTower, Karen, you specifically ensured that this is something that can easily fit into a 12-meter container and can also be easily maintained.
Yeah, so one of the key things you had in mind is that it needs to be utility scale. And part of being utility scale is ease of rolling out. And our main way to do that is within our containerized systems. So we have a picture of our ultimate container here, which comprises 6 10M40s. So that's 6 fully populated megaTower extras, which gives us a combined capacity of 5.7 megawatt hours. So this can be paired with CAB 1000 inverters to give us our utility scale systems and quick rollout and maintenance fully combined in a single system.
Awesome. So yeah, and I mean, it was designed exactly, so they can fit in a container. You got a 70mm clearance from the container roof, even if you're going with the extra, which is the 10 stack, the higher units. You guys have left enough space for a central service passage. So if any of the modules need to be, taken out or swapped out, you can easily do that.
Yes.
So you've intentionally left that middle space open.
Yes, so you have your central aisle for access as well as permeation of our fire suppression system. So there's enough space left in the middle for HVAC and our fire suppression system. There's enough space in the middle for people to enter and to access the modules for ease of maintenance. The height is optimized for fitment into containers so that we can fit as much capacity as possible into the space we have.
Got you. And then in terms of it being, transport ready, with a 6-meter container, if you're putting 2 megatowers, you can actually have those megatowers fully populated. You guys will then put in some jigs and whatnot to hold it, put everything, keep everything in place during the transportation process.
Yeah, so we understand the roads in Africa. We understand the roads to remote sites. So we have built jigs that, hard, heavy-duty metal jigs that can hold all the modules in a 6M or 6 stack in place while transported to sites so that nothing moves. We've had our 10 stack and 6 stack tested for seismic activity, as well as transportation vibrations to ensure that nothing moves during transportation. So part of the reason why we did that seismic analysis was because of projects we have overseas. We had to ship the packs through to New Zealand for use in Antarctica, and we had to perform a lot of high seismic analysis to ensure that vibration does not negatively impact the packs.
Awesome. And then, should someone want to go with, let's say, that fully populated 12-meter container that you mentioned, 5.7 megawatt hours, in that scenario, we'll essentially build up 90% of the container in the sense that we've got built-in frames and everything, and then we'll transport that and the megaTower battery modules separately. And then essentially, once the container's on site, we simply slot in the battery modules, and that's just due to the weight restraints of the actual container.
Yeah, so there are weight restraints, especially for a 12-meter to fully populated to site would take a lot of requirements that a truck, especially a side loader, typically cannot handle. But if it is a utility scale, it is far easier to transport it separately. We create each and every module individually in its own package that is well contained to prevent vibration or damage from vibration as well.
Cool. And then just touching on the local expertise and rapid response capabilities. Understanding that this solution will be used in a lot of applications in Africa, we had to try and make the megaTower as easy to work with as possible. So we've acknowledged that in certain countries there are skill shortages. So we decided to go for that easy to set up modular design. We've built it for harsh weather conditions, whereby each battery module has advanced cooling, as well as the containerized systems that we use using fairly generic AC units that are easy to replace. The containers are insulated, they're weatherproofed, and are basically built to act as your permanent battery room when on site.
And you know what? It's very simple to install these megatowers on site. So it's quite as simple as slotting in the towers and switching it on. But due to the fact that the voltages are high, all staff who work on it need to be well trained for the megaTower for working at voltages. That's a fact that needs to be noted as well.
True. And then you mentioned it's the transport and logistics. So you reinforce the units, the containers. If the megaTower modules themselves are being shipped loose, we still utilize the same wooden crates and such that we would use for the likes of our light commercial range.
Yes, exactly.
Then speaking to some of the financial advantages, so the goal of the megaTower is to offer the lowest possible lifetime cost of energy storage. So that's where that favorable cost per kilowatt hour comes in, where we installing something that we're going to get a return of investment on in the shortest possible time. By utilizing the likes of the megaTower, we can also reduce things like maximum demand charges.
Yeah, so we have kind of implemented this in our own facility and used our facility as a use case. So using our EMS, we optimized the charging and the charging times using our PV, and we then export that energy to our business usage, to charging our batteries, and to our neighbors, to minimize our max demand charges. So previously, we did find that our max demand charges before this system was introduced was extremely high. It comprised about 50% of our bill. Since introducing the system, we have eliminated our max demand charges, and we are at the moment no longer importing any energy from the grid. So that takes us as well to energy arbitrage. So with energy arbitrage, we've found before implementing the batteries that we had a lot of capacity of PV during the day, especially during midday, as can be seen by the blue curve. So that does not help us during our peak tariffs. So when our peak tariffs are highest in the mornings and evening, that's when our solar is the lowest. So using our battery, we charge using the high solar we have during the day, and we then use that stored capacity during the peak tariffs to cut down our energy to, at the moment, below zero, as we are exporting to our neighbors as well.
100%. And I mean, you're also now saving a lot of that energy that would be wasted during the peak hours of the day.
So this kind of system, our team can work with you to design the system for your needs specifically. If you give us your load profiles, your energy usage, we can design a system so that you can eliminate your max demand charges as well, and optimize your energy arbitrage with the time of use data and the time of use schedule in the EMS.
That's it. And then last but not least, you're able to reduce your dependency on running generators, burning fuel at an exorbitant rate by introducing a battery.
Yes, we have found that quite a few of our clients were using generators to run the entire systems because of the unreliability of Eskom. So there are a number of sites now that have gone completely off grid and stopped using their generators completely because of installations of our megaTower system.
Yeah, and then I mean, by having a megaTower on site, it also opens up the opportunity to attract tenants and such. So, for instance, we've got a case study coming up, so I'll use that example of running a shopping mall. By having reliable, cost-efficient energy, that makes your premises a lot more attractive to people who may want to come and rent space from you. So it opens up an additional business opportunity. In terms of supply chain security and faster delivery, as you mentioned, because we're local, You know, not only were we able to render the full megaTower in a shorter lead time and maintain stable pricing, but the same applies to any additional units that you may want to incorporate at a later point in time.
Yeah, and that also leads to local engineering, local support.
100%. And then also, you know, you're able to support additional revenue streams. So something quite exciting that we've spoken about in recent times is the introduction of the Freedom One Limo EV charger, which is an awesome add-on to the megaTower. As you know, the combination of these two has a double benefit in the sense that you can have a megaTower running your premises, for instance, but then also be able to charge a fleet of cars, for instance. So that can be used for your own use. For instance, if you have a hub and spoke type business model where you're doing short haul deliveries and such, or this could even be used at the likes of a petrol station that's looking to go green.
Yeah, so our Limo is quite unique in that it has built-in PCSs, so it can charge from grid, and it can feed back to your business loads. You can tie in your batteries directly into the EV charging system so that you can charge your EV from the battery, and you can use that battery to feed into your business activities as well. So using these systems, our EV charger, we're proud to say, is currently the fastest in Africa at 240 kilowatts. So having that on your site can increase your uptime on site. You don't need to rely on grid anymore. And having the fastest EV charger will increase the foot traffic in your premises. It will kind of promote people to come into your premises and use your facilities.
100%. So this is just an illustration, a visual illustration of some modeling that we did. So this was from a real life site where we looked at the cost of electricity for this particular customer, and we did that particular customer was on the Eskom Miniflex tariffs. And basically what we wanted to illustrate is the cost savings that one can tap into by, number one, incorporating solar, then battery, and then solar and battery combined. So essentially, you know, this particular site, it had a specific power requirement. That obviously the power requirements don't go away. If they need X amounts of energy, that maintains the same. But by incorporating various technologies, we were able to see how we could bring down the average monthly cost of electricity.
Yeah, so the orange you see here is the cost you would pay by importing from grid from Eskom. So without solar, your costs are completely from Eskom dependent. With solar, that reduces quite significantly. Then once you add in the battery, you can draw from Eskom, and the cost using the battery is lower than solar because you can use your energy arbitrage to export the battery energy when tariffs are higher, and you can use your demand usage to cut that extra expense as well. Then the combined usage of solar and battery is obviously optimizes your system. You can charge your battery from solar directly when there is excess solar, and that can possibly eliminate your Eskom usage altogether, as we have on our side.
100%. So, I mean, in isolation, both solar and battery will definitely have a positive impact, but that benefit is significantly amplified when you have the two working together. Cool. Then just touching on we mentioned that we've obviously designed the megaTower to have two voltage categories, the megaTower Plus and the megaTower Extra. So we just want to speak to the various types of inverters that are compatible with these units. So right off the bat, for the megaTower Plus, our preferred option is the Freedom One Encore HPS range, which essentially spans from 50 kilowatts to 500 kilowatts inverter size options. And you're able to parallel up to 4 of these inverters. So, you know, that's the Freedom One offering, but I'd also like to mention that these megaTower Plus units are also compatible with the likes of third-party brands as well. So the likes of your Atises, the likes of your Mega Revos and such. Back to the Encore HPS, this has a modular PV flexibility in the sense that you can expand your PV capabilities with modular MPPT charge controllers that you could just slot in. Each charge controller is 55 kilowatts. Depending on the size model that you're working with, that will determine how many modules you can add. But at the same time, we are also compatible with third-party PV inverters. For instance, if you're looking to go an AC coupled route using the Freedom One EMS. So that would be the respective option for the megaTower Plus range, a commercial inverter that's for which the megaTower's voltage is suitable. But as I previously mentioned, the limitation on the commercial inverter side is generally at about 2 megawatts. So if you have a requirement where you need more inverter capacity, then definitely the megaTower Extra is going to be the way to go. So with the megaTower Extra, we've specifically paired this with a unit called the EPC PowerCab 1000. This is a state-of-the-art inverter that is developed and manufactured in California, USA. And sorry, guys.
Yeah, so I just want to say this inverter is amazing. So we've tested this thoroughly and rolled it out to a number of sites, including Antarctica. So it's capable of complete black starts, which hardly any other inverter is capable of. It's complete 4-quadrant, 100% complete 4-quadrant. It's capable of 100% reactive and active loads. So you can see the throat connection on it, which allows easy coupling of them, which gives us the 1.5 megawatt, 3 megawatt, 4 megawatt, and 6 megawatt options you see there. So we have combined those onto our skid solution, which can be rolled out to site easily, already connected to each other, and we can connect as many of them in parallel as required. So any size of utility scale output is possible with this CAB 1000.
100%. So I mean that was really the defining factors of this inverter is the fact that there's now no limitation as to how big you can go. And as you said, I think it's a top class unit. When you open it up, you can see the quality of the components that they're using that allow for such a robust solution.
Yeah, it's very good quality. So it is a UL listed inverter, which means that every component within it is UL recognized or UL listed as well, which is one of the reasons why we partnered with EPC and supply this with our system.
And then earlier on, we mentioned the EMS. So yeah, this is not the same as remote gateway, as that purely provides remote monitoring capabilities for your megaTower battery. Where the EMS comes in is this provides you with both monitoring and management capabilities of your megaTower, your inverters, PV inverters, third-party generators, the works. It all gets pulled into one single dashboard, which you can then manage and control. Taking a closer look at the EMS, so essentially it is a software-based solution, but we do have a hardware panel that sits on site. This is a standardized enclosure with built-in comm, surge protection, and backup power. So if you lose power from even your battery, your EMS will continue functioning. And the way we specify this is we've got modular software licensing options. So we've got some baseline packages, the Essential, the Pro, and the Ultra packages, which are on offer. And essentially, each one comprises of different types of digital modules, which will determine, for instance, how many inverters you can have running in parallel. We then also have flexible tag-based cloud license options, whereby you can buy packages that have X amount of tags, which will determine the number of data metrics you can measure from a particular piece of equipment.
Yeah, so this makes it very flexible and applicable to any site. So those tag options means that you can expand the amount of metrics that you have. You can have as many CTs or monitoring points that you want on your site. You can meter wherever you need to meter. You can have as many inverters or batteries connected, and the EMS can manage the entire system. So the time of use schedule set on the EMS is the key way that we manage sites to enable that lowering of the max demand usage, to enable that energy arbitrage, to charge batteries when you want to charge it using PV, to control the PV itself, to control the grid itself, how much you want to import or export from grid. So you can set a limit to say, I want to only import X amount from grid and no more, and the EMS will handle that by controlling the inverter and batteries accordingly. So we are very proud of the system as well.
100%. And then last but not least, on the software side, we've also got some unique add-ons like DNP3. We've got an external data provider, which can be read or write, RTF integration, as well as the EPC CAB 1000 integration. One extra one I'd like to mention is that we can also integrate with an existing BMS, building management system.
So the dashboard itself of the EMS is fully customizable. So you can customize it and add in any extra data points that you want within your license and customize it for your BMS, for your site, and see what you want to see on your dashboard.
100%. And then just in summary, some of the key features, it's device agnostic. So it can be used with a 3-to-1 battery as well as third-party battery brands. Most of your commercially available hybrid inverters, generators, and power meters. It's a fast deployment because everything is pre-wired. There's no code set up, and there's a rapid commissioning. Basically, we do all the groundwork before we even get to site, or before an EPC even gets to site. Remote control and monitoring, as we mentioned, you can monitor and manage everything from wherever you are in the world. We've got parallel inverter and BESS support, so handles isolated DC bus systems and hybridized setups. Smart automation, those fancy bells and whistles that you mentioned. And then it is the EMS panel itself is an industrial grade unit in the sense that it's IP65 unit built into a steel enclosure. In terms of the megaTower warranty, something important to mention is that it's a nice upgrade from some of the other products we've introduced to date, in the sense that we offer more warranty cycles on the megaTower than any other product within our portfolio. The way the warranty works is that we've got 2 performance options, a standard and a alternate performance warranty option. The first one being the standard performance warranty offers 10 years service life or 8,000 charge/discharge cycles at an average DoD of 80%. So with these extended number of cycles, the battery should not be operated continuously above 0.5 C in discharge or 0.25 C in charge. And in hot environments, whereby ambient temperatures regularly exceed 25 degrees Celsius, the battery room should be fitted with air conditioning. So, that's quite a bit more of a conservative C rating that's allowed to be applied, which of course for any battery works in its favor and ensures that longevity over the long term. However, should you want a slightly more powerful, or utilize more powerful max current power levels during the recharge or the charge and discharge, then the alternative performance warranty will be the way to go. So in this scenario, we still offer a 10-year service life, but we support 6,000 charge/discharge cycles at an average DoD of 80%.
But so to go back to the point of the C rating, so we prefer to look at it as what does the site require, what do your loads require, what currents do you require at your max, and we size the batteries accordingly. So we don't look at the C rating as a limitation of the battery, but we size the capacity according to what your site requires.
Correct. So I mean, if someone's looking to run a battery at 1 C on a daily basis, the chances are we're going to need to go back to them and explain that they need to consider upsizing the unit.
That would be very detrimental to any cell.
100%. But with alternative performance warranty, we basically said, the battery must not be operated continuously above the max current or power levels stipulated in the specification sheet. So essentially what we're saying is that it shouldn't be operated past the maximum C rating capability of that particular battery. For the megaTower, we max out at about 0.67 C.
Yeah, 0.6 C.
Yeah.
So we do allow peaks for 1 minute of higher Cs, but that's just to allow your loads to settle or for motor startups, and then we need to settle back down at 0.6 C.
100%.
But our technical team is well versed in sizing our megatowers to meet any site demand.
Correct. So once we understand how you want to use the battery, what your overall requirements are, we can then advise you on the correct size to use. I mean, to give you an example, I mean, if one assumes that you're going to cycle your battery once a day over a 10-year period, in that scenario, 3,650 cycles would be sufficient. So, the fact that we're offering 8,000, 6,000 cycle warranty cycles on these two options means that there should be ample opportunity or let's say ample cycles to utilize during that warranty period. And then just on the last note on the warranties, we guarantee a retained capacity of 60% at the end of that warranty period. So that means that battery is not on its last leg. There's still another 5, 6, 7 years of usage that you can get out of it. Obviously, if you treat your battery extra well, the ideal scenario will be that you'll have even more than 60% retained capacity at the end of the warranty period. And then just in closing, so we've discussed some of the benefits of the megaTower. But this is a nice example of where we've actually been able to see those benefits in action. And this was a installation we completed this year, which is actually up for an AFCIA award for Project of the Year, which is the Rosebank Mall project, where we installed a 6 megawatt-hour battery energy storage solution, being the megaTower. And this has been a very successful installation in the sense that the customer has already seen the benefits, in the sense that they've enjoyed a 20 to 30% reduction in their overall electricity costs, as well as eliminated 80% of their generator usage during outages.
Yeah, and that 20 to 30% reduction in electricity costs speaks directly to correct usage of the battery to optimize for energy arbitrage, for that usage during load shedding, for the lower usage of the previous generators that they had in place. So there are a number of factors, and the correct usage of the batteries plays well into that.
100%. And something really cool about it is that if you want to learn a bit more about this project, you can actually go and do a virtual tour. So we'll be sure to share the link with you in the chat now, as well as afterwards. But you can actually do a walkabout through this installation to see what does the Freedom One Rosebank Mall installation look like. So if we just walk through here, we'll get to where you can actually see our CAB 1000s in action. Right over here, we've got 3 of them running in parallel, and then we've got our dedicated battery room over here with the Freedom One megaTowers. So this is something that's accessible to the public. You can do a full walkthrough of this installation. You can check out our EPC CAB 1000 inverters, as well as our Freedom One megaTowers in action, and also check out the rest of the installation, which has some cool additional bits and bobs in the form of a dual fuel converted
generators, which have been converted to run off gas, which is much more energy efficient and better for the environment, which complements the system. So it is a fun thing to look through. So I've looked through this with my VR goggles. It's very entertaining and interesting.
So yeah, so definitely check that out and see if that's maybe is something that would make sense for the type of projects you're looking to take on. But with that being said, that brings us to the conclusion of the megaTower presentation or power talk. Hopefully you guys learned some interesting things, and that we've highlighted the flexibility that you now have with the megaTower. Really, this is a solution that's applicable for commercial systems or projects, as well as utility projects, whereby you can start off as small as 217 kilowatt hours with your typical commercial inverters, should you want to go that way or need to go that way, all the way up to your biggest utility scale solutions, where we've got your megaTower extra paired with the likes of the CAB 1000. So yeah, last but not least, we did mention those AFCIA award, that were mentioned or nominated for the Storage Project of the Year with AFCIA. We were also nominated for a few other things, such as African Company of the Year, as well as Storage Technology Provider of the Year. Something we're really proud of. And if you'd like to go and vote for us, please just scan this the QR codes on the screen, and would really appreciate your vote. But with that being said, that brings us to the end of the power talk. If anyone has any questions, we'd like to ask you to please just pop it into the comment section, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions.
Okay, so we can look through the chat. The first question was from Yash. Is can you do monitoring of cell or pack wise or only rack wise? So the monitoring we can do on a cellular level of voltages, on a tower level, we can monitor all our SOCs, our state of health, any issues on a tower level, and on a full pack level, we get the full complement of information via our BMS or EMS.
I see Rocco popped us through a question here. I see not already answered, but I'll just reiterate it. So Rocco had a question about what's the smallest size you can start off on, and we've confirmed that it's 217 kilowatt hours with a 6M1T frame that's fully populated, with the megaTower plus battery module stack.
Yeah, so we have individual modules that make up the stack, each of which is 36 kilowatts hour. So 6 of those stacked together in the 6M1T adds up to our 217.
Yeah, and that 6R setup is obviously required to get to the voltage that we want, because those units are set up in series.
Yeah, so we don't typically sell it in units that are lower than the 6 stack, because we found that the 6 stack gives us the voltage required for many of the inverters in that range.
We've had another question from Morocco about tier 1 cells. Yeah, it's not that we've started using them with the megaTower. We've been using tier 1 for all of our batteries.
Yeah, so we've always used tier 1 cells. In our home range and business range, we use smaller capacity. So it's also tier 1, but it's a smaller capacity cell. We have now moved towards the 314 amp hour cells, especially for this utility scale projects. So it gives us that higher nominal current with our series connection. So see, there's another question from Yash. In case of the master failing, then does a complete rack go down? So the pack as a whole can continue functioning if a tower is down. So if it's a 6M4T, for example, so that's 4 towers. If one single module fails, that one tower can go down, but you'll still have 3 towers functioning and providing energy to your system.
Yeah. Yeah. So for instance, for everyone's example, if we've got a 12-meter container that's fully populated with 4 megaTower extra units, that would give you about just over 4.7 megawatt hours. You would temporarily lose, if there was a module that went down, whereby you had a stack that required maintenance, you would just temporarily lose 361 kilowatt hours.
Exactly.
Another question from Leo. Let's see. Yeah, we've got a few guys. Thank you for your questions, by the way. We really do appreciate it. So Rocco asks, can the megaTower systems be used permanently off-grid? Some battery or inverter suppliers approve grid loss from time to time, but not permanently off-grid.
So yes, they can be used permanently off-grid, especially with our CAB 1000s, because they have complete black start capabilities. So you can start your entire system from black start with the CAB 1000.
Cool. And then I see Yash has a last question just about the liquid cooling. So with liquid cooling, can it be possible to be placed in a 20-foot container with the same capacity of 5.8 megawatt hours?
So we looked at when we were designing a system, we looked at putting that high energy density into a 20-foot container and decided against it because that high mass in such a small footprint causes issues on site with stability and the plinths needed. So we decided to go with the 40-foot option with the same energy capacity. So that allows us easier installation on site, easier transportation. And for utility scale projects, we found that the footprint of a 20-foot versus a 40-foot wasn't an issue.
Cool. I'm just doing a last scan here for any questions. If you do have any last few questions, please pop them through. I see, yeah, Rocco. Yeah, thanks for your questions, by the way. Rocco mentioned we're busy with a few commercial projects. We were planning to order the light HV batteries. Should we rather order the megaTower Plus? I think that depends. Look, obviously we've introduced the megaTower Plus and Extra as our flagship product for large commercial or commercial and utility scale projects. But it's not to say that there's anything wrong with the Light 2 range. We're still going to be making it for a while, and it's in terms of its track record, it's obviously been out in the field longer than any of our batteries that we've manufactured to date. So, based on space requirements, the number of warranty cycles you need, the cost per kilowatt hour, you'd need to look at that in relation to, let's say, a megaTower equivalent to make an informed decision. But there's definitely an overlap where either or will be suitable for a particular site. Karen, I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
I think that covers it well.
Yeah. They're both equipped with remote monitoring capabilities. They're both using the same grade of lithium iron phosphate cells, which is tier 1. The difference being that the light commercial will use 205 amp hour cell modules, whereas the megaTower uses 314 amp hour cell modules. But we'd need to look at the exact project requirements, and then we'd be in a position to advise you on what makes the most sense.
So see, Yash commented that in India, the air temperature is 50 degrees. Is it possible with air cooling? So we do advise, so the megatowers are not made for outdoor use. So they're made for indoor use with an environmental temperature that is kept low. So we advise on simple low maintenance air conditioning to be used in the enclosure or the room that the megatowers are in. Our engineers advise on the size of the air conditioning as well as placement.
Yeah, so we'll do the comprehensive calculation in terms of identifying the correct BTU.
Yeah, so we give you exactly the kilowatt or the BTU spec of aircon required based on the size of your room, your energy usage, the number of or the type of equipment in the room, and the energy losses seen from those equipment.
So yeah, air cooling, forced air cooling, or active forced air cooling isn't something new to us. It's something we have used in the light commercial range, and we've just improved on that. With these, including that now in every single megaTower battery module. If it's being installed in sites in a dedicated battery room, then the onus is on the EPC to ensure that there's sufficient AC for that room. If it's a containerized system, then we will take care of that. But of course, even for a dedicated battery room, we're happy to get involved and advise you in terms of what the correct specification of AC units would be for that room. Cool. So guys, if no one has any additional questions, we're going to wrap things up. But yeah, we want to say a big thank you to all of you for taking the time to join us today. We hope the session was insightful. If there are at any point in time any questions, additional questions you want to share, please feel free to pop us a mail. You can either mail us directly or just send a mail through to inquiries@freedomwatt.co.za. The team will loop us in.
Yes, you can contact us for any technical inquiries. And one more thing, don't forget to vote. So we have the voting still on the screen. Please scan those QR codes and vote.
100%. Perfect. Thank you, everyone, and have a fantastic day. And we hope to be hearing from you soon.